So here's my problem, everyone. I got a lot of problems. My name's Andrew Hall. You can call me Dr. Kennard. This is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. I'm going to talk to you about one of my problems. If you've been here for a while, you know I'm a satirist. I write satire on the Laughing and Disbelief blog, on the non-religious channel, over on Pathos. Millions of people. I know it's difficult to believe that millions of people have actually read my material. Some have actually laughed at it too. It's supposed to be funny most of the time. I will say this. The posts that have been the most successful haven't been the best written. I'll say that. Probably my most famous of posts, the most popular post, it took me maybe 20 minutes to write. The posts that I really take time, sit down, reflect on the grammar, proper wording, they never get really a lot of traffic. I don't know why. I don't know why it hits. I was just looking at today's post and I'm going, yeah, I could have worded that better. I could have worded that sentence better, even though it's doing exceptionally well. Because today's post was all about Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida getting COVID. Now, he didn't really get COVID, everyone, but it's a satirical take on what kind of plague rat the Florida governor is. And we're going to cover his plague rattedness later on today in the show. And does Jesus ride a motorcycle? We're going to be talking about Jesus riding a motorcycle too. And I'm going to touch on Boston's acting mayor and the craziness that's come out of her mouth in the last 24 hours or so about vaccine passports. It's going to be a crazy show. We have the after show at 10 a.m. It's an open room for humanists and atheists. Description below has the link if you want to be on the panel. You want to do something funny? I think we should do something funny, right? Let's see.
I am a barber am I. Twirl with your hair till your follicles die. Ask why I fight and I'll simply reply, I am a barber am I. Since I was a wee lad I've tussled with hair, with scissors and clippers and razors and nair. If luck strike me down while I'm stuck in their snares, then what shall arise but three new barbers there, singing I am a barber am I. We shave with our blood and we drink barbicide. We're all made of bricks and we're 7'5". We are a barber are I.
It's a barber R.I. You gotta love the grammar there, everyone. I'm gonna check out the chat. If you're watching on Facebook right now, you'll see that I'm interacting with the chat, which I can see for people on YouTube, right? Because people who make comments on YouTube, I can actually see their comments. So this is going to be a day of word salad, everyone. It's going to be a day of word salad. What's up, Blazing Wizard Pope? Hope you're doing well. Dee Parks, John Hudson, hello. Tesla Ranger. Tesla Ranger, a lot of those satirical posts, they cut quick to the bone. They cut close to the quick. Sometimes predictions. Hey, Simply Secular Dave and the girlfriend. How are you this morning? Greetings from Inverness. I assume this is Inverness, Scotland. I was in Inverness. I'm on my way up, of course, to Loch Ness when I was backpacking through Scotland back in the day. Beautiful country up there. What's up, Tobin Templeman? Lee, hello. Pure barbarism. Oh, Blazing. It's punishment. Vesta, how are you doing? Very Monty Python's Lumberjacky. That's right, girlfriend. Oh, listening to, from the office, attempting to make converse. Very good, Dee Parks. Very good. Glad that you're helping out here. All right. So, do I have announcements? I guess I have announcements. Caitlin Bailey, she's a comedian. I mentioned this yesterday. She's coming on the channel recording an interview tonight. She has a new one-woman show about the history of sex work. She's going to be doing it in New York City over the next couple of months, I believe. I'm dropping that video on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. My Facebook group, or the Facebook group, our Facebook group, Atheist Comedy Burrito, is officially in the trouble bubble with Facebook. Once again, Comedy Atheist Burrito, it's in the trouble bubble. It's a Facebook group. It's got 5,800 or so members to it. And Facebook alerted me this morning that I now have to pre-approve every single post, which I do anyway. Facebook, thank you very much. They didn't tell me what I did wrong, or what was done incorrectly that went against community standards in the group. The last time someone got flagged was in July 15th. But if you've been paying attention here on this channel, you know that there's no rhyme nor reason to Facebook and when they put the ban hammer down. So hopefully the Facebook group will survive, but we are in the trouble bubble at Comedy Atheist Burrito, or Atheist Comedy Burrito. It's spicy burrito fun, everyone, with comedy too, and atheism. Sigh. Oh, Dave, did you have to say that? I enjoyed that clip. Yeah. All right, Dave. All right. Yeah, Scotland will be taking the boat onto Loch Ness tomorrow and visiting relatives who live at Foyers at the South Shore. And I spent some time, a number of days at the hostel at Loch Ness years ago. All right, you want to do some memes? Let's do some memes before we jump into the news cycle. First meme. Is it cat related? Kind of. Sort of cat related. The top statement, of course, is don't go in. Here you have, come see my cat. And down here, Xander says, but I really want to see. I want to see the cat. That's what Xander wants to. Don't watch. Don't go see the cat, Xander. It doesn't look like a safe space. All right. So the next meme, it's really for those of you who like classic animation, right? Classic animation. Before animation was computerized, back in the day where you could make Cold War jokes with abandon because the country was in the middle of the Cold War. Here we go, everyone, for the old schoolers out there. Someone just pointed out that Underdog's nemesis, Simon Bar Sinister, looks just like Rudy Giuliani, and now I can never unsee it. Oh, I grew up watching Underdog. I did. I grew up watching Underdog, and it was an old cartoon when I was watching it. Good stuff, though. All right. Last meme before we get serious. Michelle Wolf, in high school, if you didn't believe in science, it was just called failing. Can't we just give people failing grades here? I was about to say, can't we just give people failing graves? That was going to be a Freudian slip. I was going to show my Freudian slip there. I guess coronavirus is giving people failing graves. But yes, that's a good point, Michelle Wolf. It's like, if you didn't believe in science, it was just called failing. And here in the middle of the pandemic, you can call it failing too, if you don't have a basic grasp on science. And, I've made this comment many a times, is that in this society, it isn't just a case of the haves and the have-nots, but it's really a case of the maths and the maths not understanding basic mathematical principles. And let me tell you, I'm not that great at math, but I understand the basics. The fact that COVID-19 poses a much greater threat to my health than getting a vaccine or wearing a face mask. I don't even think that there's any real danger of wearing a face mask, but it's a case of the maths and the maths not. Going to check out the chat before going into the first news story, which is what? Missouri. Oh, F me, Missouri. Little Florida. I'm just calling it Little Florida. I'm checking out the chat. It's like the van marked free candy. That's right, Tesla Ranger. That's exactly it. Oh, let's see. It's Underdog. That's right, John Hudson. It's Underdog. It's Underdog. All right, let's get serious. Let's get serious here on the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. We have to get serious because there's serious issues to be taken care of. First story of the day. Buckle up. Buckle up. Missouri coroner removing COVID-19 from death certificates if families request. This is not a fake story. This is from The Hill. Once again, I apologize to any brain cells that are going to burst from this news of stupid. Missouri coroner removing COVID-19 from death certificates if families request. A Missouri coroner revealed that he has omitted COVID-19 on at least 6 death certificates if families requested it in cases where other major factors may have also played a role. Macon County Coroner Brian Hayes, a Republican elected official, told the Kansas City Star that a lot of families were upset and didn't want COVID on their death certificates. I won't lie for them. It's got to be true, but I do what pleases the family, he added. I won't lie, but I'm going to do maltruthful, anti-truthful things. And that's how this gentleman is threading that needle. That's how he's working out his cognitive dissonance, everyone. The coroner, who's also a partner at a local funeral home, explained that the requests from families have only been fulfilled in cases where other conditions, such as pneumonia or long-term smoking, were also determined as central factors in contributing to a person's death. I know what you're about to say, chat. I'm just going to keep getting to the next panel here. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has said that COVID-19 is only listed as a cause of death if the person would have lived without contracting the virus. Oh, my fictitious God. Doesn't that make sense? COVID-19 is listed as the cause of death if you would have lived if you didn't get COVID-19. According to the CDC, roughly 92% of cases where COVID-19 was listed on someone's death certificate were situations in which the virus prompted a series of events that ultimately led to a person's passing. Is there more? There's more. Mike Chambers, the administrator of Macon County Health Department, told the Star that while he does not necessarily agree with Hayes' decision to omit COVID-19 on certain death certificates, he admitted he can see both sides. Fuck both sides. I hate the middle ground fallacy. The middle ground fallacy. And for those of you who don't know, this has become my newest, I hate this fallacy. And what is the middle ground fallacy? It is if you have two positions, then what's in the middle has to be the right one. And that's where moral cowardice lives, everyone. So let's say, we'll give an example of the middle ground fallacy. We'll do some middle ground fallacy 101 right here. Let's say we shouldn't be shooting black men in the back. You know, we shouldn't have police shoot unarmed black men in the back like 7 times. You have another position that says we should be shooting unarmed black men in the back 7 times. The middle ground would be, well, we should only shoot unarmed black men in the back 1 time or 2 times. That's an example of that fallacy. And you see it, once you know it, you see it all the time. Last panel. The state health department has recorded a total of nearly 578,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases as of Wednesday, in addition to more than 9,700 fatalities due to the virus. Vaccinations rates in the state remain relatively low compared to other parts of the country, with the CDC reporting that about 49% of Missouri's total population has received at least 1 vaccine jab, as well as 42% fully vaxxed. Check it out, the chat, and see what's going on there. He just lied. That's all it was, Phil Lister. The man just lied. And oh yes, Dee Parks. And there's so much frustrating. There's so much to be frustrated with in this story. And you're saying it perfectly. He won't face any consequences because that's how we do it here. Let's see. Compromise. Yeah. Let's see. I think I caught up with everyone. All right. Hey, Wes, how you doing? I am. I'm just picking on your state, Wes. I'm sorry. Well, not sorry. If people weren't doing so many things in Missouri, if they weren't trying to outpace Florida. What's up, KCA Randy? Let's you want to do the next story? Let's do the next story. Let's talk about Australia. This is positive. This is a positive news story. See, we do some positive news stories here, and this is about reparations. It's a dark story because the Australian government, what's the official nomenclature? What's the official term? Oh, that's right. They screwed over the Indigenous people of Australia. And now there's some reparations that are going to be paid. Oh, let's see if I can do this hitting of the buttons correctly, because this is what makes the show so awesome, everyone. Some Indigenous Australians to receive reparations. That is the name of this video. And this is part of a trend, but we'll talk about the trend after this particular story.
Australia will pay millions in reparations to some Indigenous survivors forcibly taken from their families from as early as over a century ago. Dubbed the Stolen Generation, more than 100,000 Aboriginal children were taken over a period spanning decades that led to a historic apology from the government 13 years ago. Current Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced the fund's establishment on Thursday.
What happened is a shameful chapter in our national story. We have already confronted it with a national apology. But our deeds must continue to match our words. This is a long call for step. Recognising the bond between healing, dignity, and the health and well-being of members of the stolen generations, their families, and their communities.
But the move also comes months after hundreds of survivors filed a class action lawsuit in the nation's top court seeking compensation. Since then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd's apology in 2008, a socio-economic gap has persisted between Australia's Indigenous and non-Indigenous citizens. According to government data, Indigenous Australians are likely to die younger compared to their non-Indigenous counterparts. They are also reportedly overrepresented in the nation's prisons. Indigenous groups on Thursday welcomed the government's payments, but cautioned more work needs to be done.
All right. So we've talked about this before. In Namibia, which was once German Southwest Africa, for all of you cartography geeks out there, for all of you map geeks out there, the German government's going to be paying reparations for some of the people, the natives, who they screwed over when they were colonizers of that country. And this is a trend of nations paying people for the harm that they did during the age. If you just a point, if you have something called a stolen generation in your country where you literally stole children, then you have to pay. You just have to pay. You have to do something to make it right. It isn't just a case that you can make an apology and just say, oops, sorry about that. There's payment to try to make it right. You may never be able to make it right, but you have to make a good faith effort to make it right. Otherwise, you're just scum. Powerful language this morning, Andrew. Yeah, it got me angers. Got my angers up. All right. What are we doing next? Good morning, Jess M. You caught me in the middle of a rant about reparations. All right. Let's do the next story, everyone, because we move fast. We move fast here. Am I slipping into William Shatner kind of punctuation with my speech? I hope not. I hope not. So what's the next story? All right. This is the face of Christian fascism here in the United States of America. Cul-de-sac Karen storming the Capitol. posting all kinds of crazy stuff on Facebook, on social media. But don't worry, she was caught by the police, and she's going to face a stiff penalty for the crimes that she's committed, right? Won't she face, and her scumbag husband, won't they face a stiff penalty for trying to overthrow an election, for trying to overthrow the rightful government of the United States of America, right? Years in jail, maybe. That's sarcasm. Microphone, you know that. The microphone knows when I'm sarcasming them. Regretful anti-vaxxer rioters sentenced to home detention. You have read that correctly. Regretful anti-vaxxer rioters sentenced to home detention. They could have just said white cul-de-sac people sentenced to home detention. Let's check out the story. A Virginia couple who stormed the Capitol with signs protesting safe and effective coronavirus vaccines and proceeded to document the deranged acts online have been sentenced to home confinement. Jessica Bustle and her realtor husband, Joshua. You know, I just want to talk about how much I hate that name, Joshua. Anyone who's read the book of Joshua knows that it's a book of genocide, ethnic cleansing and genocide in the Old Testament. It's fiction, of course, but it just burns me when I hear someone called, having called their kid Joshua. Obviously someone who hasn't read the Old Testament. And if they have read the Old Testament, then what kind? It's like naming your kid Mussolini or Hitler. Jessica Bustle and her realtor. This is going to be a lot of ranting today on the show, I think. Joshua pleaded guilty in June to a misdemeanor charge of parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol building after participating in the January 6th riot alongside thousands of MAGA supporters. Prosecutors allege that during the riot, Jessica was holding a sign that read, "Vaccine injury is the real pandemic," while her husband followed behind and filmed. Hey, don't call him a cuck, all right? Don't call him that. We don't use that kind of language here. Let's go on. The Virginia couple who stormed the Capitol with signs protesting safe. Let's see. All right. Jessica Bustle and her realtor husband, I'm going down to the next paragraph, pleaded guilty in June to a misdemeanor charge of parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building. Did I just read this? I just read this. I'm sorry. I'm just caught up in my rage this morning, everyone. I'm just caught up in the rage. The Bustles are among over 500 individuals who have been charged in the siege and among a handful of people who have caught to their crimes. Federal guidelines stated that the Bustles could have faced up to 6 months in prison and a fine up to $5,000 each for their role in the siege. Prosecutors, however, asked for 1 month home detention for Joshua and 3-month home detention for his wife because of her incendiary language about riot and politics. Good job, prosecutors, right? For lowballing it. Who lowballs that kind of thing? In addition to 30 days of home confinement, Hogan sentenced Joshua to 2 years probation, 40 hours of community service, and $10 special assessment and a $500 restitution. Jessica was sentenced to 60 days of home confinement, 2 years of probation, $10 special assessment, and $500 restitution. Hogan said Wednesday that part of his rationale for giving the pair a non-custodial sentence stemmed from the fact that the Bustles were in D.C. for an anti-vaccine rally and not at Trump's behest to disrupt the election. I don't understand the reasoning there, besides the fact that the couple was white and nice middle-class people. In their own statements to the court, Joshua admitted that he did break the law and was hoping for mercy so that his family could move further south to get a free start. Let me tell you something. Moving further south is not the answer. Not if you're serious about not being crazy. Jessica also apologized before writing that she loves our country, and that's all. Prosecutors noted in court documents that Jessica documented her and her husband's participation in the Capitol riot on Facebook, including uploading several videos of the riot and then posting about their experience. Just before entering the Capitol, Jessica posted a selfie on Facebook alongside with the caption, "We don't win this thing sitting on the sidelines. Excited to stand for truth with my fellow patriots and freedom fighters in DC today. Let's do this," according to the criminal complaint. But you got to ask, did she pray for America? Of course she prayed for America, because that's what fascists do. They pray for America. In another Facebook post after the siege, Jessica inveighed on Vice President who was being targeted by some rioters for refusing to violate the Constitution and helped Donald Trump plot to retain the presidency. She also touched on the emerging martyrdom of Ashley Babbitt, the rioter shot and killed during the fiasco. "Pence is a traitor. We stormed the Capitol. An unarmed, peaceful woman," down the hall was shot in the neck by the cops. "It's insane here. Pray for America," she said. Pray for America. Christian fascism right there. Stupid, white, evangelical Christian fascism. But hey, she got punished. She gets to stay at home for 60 days. Her husband, her accomplice, 30 days. And they have to pay, what, a $500 fine plus $10 on top of that each? Wow, that was. And what was the reasoning, again, of the judge? It was the fact that they were there for an anti-vaccine protest and not at the behest of Donald J. Trump. Links in the description below, because some of you just might think I make up these stories. Some of you may think, Andy, he's just cranking out crazy stuff, making these panels up on his own. But no, the links are in the description, everyone. Further south, perhaps Antarctica. I could accept that, Vesta. I can accept that. That's right, Dee Parks. Skin color plus the correct religion, indeed. Well, Phil, that is a bright light. Maybe a silver lining in this horrible hurricane of cloudiness. They stay home. At least they're not infecting others. That's true. That's true. So if the government tells them to voluntarily quarantine, they refuse. But if the government punishes them with home detention, they're okay with it. Go figure. Yeah. Hey, B, not B. B, good to see that you're here this morning. Well, that's what it is, KCA Randy. Letting these people off the hook could embolden another shot at a coup. Well, the thing is, right? Are we going to talk about the putsch, the beer hall putsch in Germany? 1923, was it? When the National Socialists tried to take over the Weimar Republic? Yeah. And what did Hitler get? A slap on the wrist? Yeah, well, at least he spent some time in jail, Microphone. You're right about that. At least he spent some time in jail. Incredible. All right. So let's see. You ready to do the halftime tummy rub show? The halftime tummy rub show is when we sit back, enjoy a joke, maybe something feline related too, something cat related, a little video to lighten our spirits before we dive back into the news cycle. And hey, everyone, if you found some value, if you learned something, or enjoyed some comments in the chat, had a good conversation in the chat, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you got a couple of shekels, please become a patron or a YouTube member. I would appreciate it. There's effort I do here. There's effort I put into the show. So if you could throw me a couple of shekels, that would be wonderful. Because I don't run ads. I hate ads. You hate ads. We all hate ads. All right, halftime tummy rub show. Let's see.
But I pay my cat for being such a good friend. I gave her money and then she started shaking like physically repulsed by the offer. Like, get it off my body. And I'm a cat, not a capitalist. What am I gonna do with this? You piece of shit.
I am a cat and not a capitalist. Yeah. True words have never been said. Okay. Well, simply secular Dave. This is an interesting comment, Dave. Remember when ignorance of the law was not an excuse to relieve people of the responsibility for the actions? Those were good times. Yeah. Ignorance of the law. Well, I guess that doesn't apply anymore, right? You can be ignorant. If anything, I guess the motto of the United States of America could be ignorance. That's what we make. That's what we create here. You pay cats and catnip, Tesla Ranger. Well said. Well said. All right. You ready for something new? A new thing, a new story? Do I delude? Should I take more time with each story? Maybe I should just do less stuff. The important thing here, and this is what I feel like my job is here, is that once again, I want to talk about the important news stories, the news stories that are important today, but the news stories that are going to be important or that follow a trend line for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. That's what I want to do here. All right, what's the next story? Here's what we know about the Delta Plus variant. So there is Delta Plus variant, obviously. If this is your first time hearing about it, the link to the news story is in the description below, everyone. Let's check it out. South Korea's Disease Control and Prevention Agency said Tuesday that it had recorded at least 2 cases of the new coronavirus Delta Plus variant, which some experts believe to be more transmissible than the original Delta variant that was first detected in India and has since thwarted plans for returning to life before the pandemic. Well, what exactly do we know about the Delta Plus? Yet another new variant causing alarm among governments and health officials. First identified in Europe in March, the variant is also known as, well, that string of numbers and letters right there. The B 1.6. There's 2 decimal points there. So confusing to me, but I'm just a simple chuckle farmer. Last month, experts in India labeled the variant one of concern, and warned that it appeared to be more transmissible than most. Citing studies, the country's health ministry said that the variant has the ability to bind more easily to lung cells and could be resistant to therapies used to treat the infection. Union Science and Technology Minister Jitendra Singh announced last Friday that up to 70 cases of the Delta Plus variant were detected in genome sequencing as of July 23, the Hindustan Times reported. How India has weathered the devastation of the Delta variant and how it has named the Delta Plus variant as one of concern should place public health leaders on notice, says James Hindreth, President and Chief Executive of Merit. I'm going to butcher that name, Merit Medical College. At least 39 confirmed cases of the Delta Plus variant have been found in the country, along with 6 probable ones, according to a July briefing from Public Health England. The virus hasn't appeared to have gained intense traction on British soil, said Colin Angus, a public health policy modeler and analyst in England. The plus of the variant, so here's the meat and potatoes right here. What makes the Delta Plus variant different from just a regular everyday Delta variant? The plus of the variant's name refers to its K417N spike protein mutation, which was also found in substrains of the Alpha variant. When the Alpha variant was the dominant strain in the country before the Delta variant. But the substrains never got a foothold, he explained. To date, there is no clear evidence that it conveys enough of a benefit to the virus to allow it to dominate the original Delta variant, he said. So although it is clearly here, there's no obvious sign that it has gained a foothold over existing variants of the virus. So what does that tell us? It tells us it's something that we should be keeping an eye on as new variants and new flavors of variants arise. We should keep an eye on them. Like I said, I have a friend who tested positive. She had a breakthrough infection. She was vaccinated and she got sick. She got coronavirus. And it's something to be aware of. Just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean that you're bulletproof. Checking out the chat. All right. All right. We're ready to go to the next story, I guess, right? You want to talk about, Florida. Are we going to talk about Florida? I don't know, everyone. I don't know if I'm ready for Florida. We can talk about the Christian prophet who said Jesus rode on a motorcycle with him. That's totally true. I have video footage. I don't have video footage of Jesus being on his motorcycle. So we can talk about the Jesus prophet. I can talk about the prophet that said Jesus rode on a motorcycle with him, or we can talk about Florida. There's a video about Florida and COVID hospitalizations. My heart right now is telling me we should talk about Jesus on a motorcycle because that seems a lot sillier. And I think I'm going to shoot for the silly story on this one, everyone. Yeah. All right. Let's do the Jesus story. This is from Hemet Mehta, the friendly atheist. Christian prophet states Jesus rode on my motorcycle and I have a painting of it. Everyone. Yes, there's not only a video of the prophet talking about Jesus riding on a motorcycle with him, but there is this super cool painting that he did too of Jesus riding on a motorcycle with him. There was no sidecar, by the way. There's no sidecar. No. All right, you ready to do this thing? Let's do this thing. Yeah, crazy stuff. The last time we heard from self-described Christian prophet Manuel Johnson of Mega Praise Ministries, he was telling the always gullible Steve Schultz of Elijah List Ministries that he was the lawyer for Michael Jackson in heaven, and the late disgraced King of Prop was singing and dancing for God. It's been far too long since we've heard from him, and which can only mean one thing. We're missing out on some insane story. Thankfully, Johnson was back on Schultz's show yesterday and shared a truly incredible story about driving Jesus on his motorcycle. Are you ready? This is the drum roll. This is the special effect, by the way. I'm just hitting 2 fingers on the table. Are you ready for the special effect? Are you ready to see the visual, the painting of Jesus riding on the motorcycle? Because it's everything that you expect it to be. Here it comes. But Johnson, like all good grifters, backed up his story with evidence. A stranger in Florida said he had a painting for him, a painting of Jesus on the back of his bike. And even though this artist supposedly had no idea what Johnson's bike looked like or what kind of motorcycle it was, he got those details and Jesus all exactly right. Well, Jesus looks pretty blurry. You want to see the video? You want to see some of the video of the interview? Let's check this out, everyone.
I was going down from the mountain, just in awe of what just happened to me. And the voice comes. He says, my son, go get our bike. He said,
our bike.
Go get our bike. Not your bike, because this is not, so it wasn't just about me. He says, go get our bike.
Wow.
And Steve, I just broke down. I just broke down right there at the foot of the mountain. I just broke down. Go get our bike? What, Lord, go get our bike? Yes.
Man.
And when the Lord directed me to the bike, it's a BMW. He was there from the whole process of purchasing it. And when he rode on that bike, I thought the mountain experience was great. And then when he rode on the bike, on the back of that bike with me, oh my gosh, that was a greater opportunity. And I've said this before, it was a greater opportunity than my visitations to heaven. In Florida, a gentleman said, I have something for you. That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
So this guy gives you, this gentleman,
yes,
guy, he takes you out there and they drove from another state, you said, to give you this photo.
Yes.
He got your clothes right. He got the color of the bike right.
He's got the color of my bike. He's got everything right.
Yeah, right. So that's evidence right there, everyone. That's and grifters. I hate grifters within the atheist community. I hate grifters who are religious. I just hate grifters. Checking out the chat. What would Jesus do with a motorcycle? That sounds like Star Trek. Why, as Kirk would ask the alien, why does God need a starship? Was that Star Trek 5? I think that was Star Trek 5. Why does God need a spaceship? Why does God need a motorcycle? Why? Yes, simply Secular Dave. Yeah. His visitations to heaven. Well, he is the lawyer for Michael Jackson in heaven. And he did, I guess, had to plead Michael Jackson's case. But God's like, sure, I let pedophiles in here all the time. Don't worry about it. He can dance and sing for me. It would have been a Harley if it had been true. Good point, the girlfriend. Good point. Hey, Tobin Templeman, alligator tears. Indeed. You gotta love the theatrics, though. That man is a performer. He had the crying and he had it all down, everyone. Professional actor, grifter. All right, so I'm gonna, I don't even want to go to the Florida COVID hospitalizations because I've been dumping on Florida. I've been dumping on Missouri too, justly so. Some of you are going to ask me, why don't you dump on Massachusetts, Andy? Isn't there something going on in Massachusetts? Massachusetts isn't without sin, so to speak. You're right. And I'm going to share with you a story about something crazy happening in the city of Boston, just over the river from us. Something that you may not have heard about. I picked this up on local news. Acting mayor of Boston, Kim Janey, invokes slavery and Trump birtherism over question on vaccine passports. Our mayor, the last mayor, Marty Walsh, was, of course, tapped by President Biden to become Secretary of Labor. And this leads Kim Janey as acting mayor of Boston. And she just seems a little crazy to me. You decide. Acting Mayor Kim Janey appeared to throw water on the idea of following New York City's lead and mandating proof of vaccines for various indoor activities. And she referenced slavery and the Jim Crow era and former President Donald Trump in talking it down. We know that those types of things are difficult to enforce when it comes to vaccines, Janey said Tuesday when asked whether she's considering mandating vaccine passports. She began to raise eyebrows when she continued, there's a long history in this country of people needing to show their papers, whether we're talking about this from a standpoint of, as a way to after, during slavery, post-slavery, as recent as, what the immigrant population has to go through. Janey added, we've heard Trump with all the birth certificate nonsense. Here we want to make sure that we are not doing anything that would further create the barrier for residents of Boston or disproportionately impact people of color communities. City Councilor Andrea Campbell, one of Janey's rivals in the mayoral race, said in a statement, when we are combating a deadly virus and vaccine hesitancy, this kind of rhetoric is dangerous. Showing proof of vaccination is not slavery or birtherism. We are too close to give ground to COVID. Science is science. It's pretty simple. Facts up and mask up. City Council President Pro Temp Matt O'Malley didn't take a direct shot at Janey, but after her comments, tweeted a New York Times story about the NYC move and said, if we want to get serious about addressing vaccine hesitancy, we should be doing this in Boston. City Councilor Michelle Wu, who's also running for mayor, said anyone in position of leadership should be using that position to build trust in vacancies. Janey is a leader of Boston. She's a leader within her community. People listen to their leaders if she's not being firm and being a good example to them. That affects the entire city. See, so I get to crap on Boston every once in a while, right? Microphone? Sure. That happens when it's required to. When it's required to. All right. You want to do, we'll talk about hospitalizations in Florida. I wrote that Poe piece, that satirical piece on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief, about Ron DeSantis. Governor Ron DeSantis. And John Hudson actually pointed out about this story about Florida COVID hospitalizations. And I wanted to share this piece with you. I guess we're going to end off the show with this. Well, we're going to do some funny stuff too, right? We're going to do some funny stuff, but this is the last major story. Let's take a look at this. The name of the video is Florida COVID hospitalizations break pandemic record.
We have breaking news right now on the COVID pandemic. CBS News has confirmed that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin plans to mandate vaccines for all active duty U.S. troops. This, as the CDC warns the United States could see more than 2 million new cases over the next month, fueled by the Delta variant, which now accounts for 93% of all COVID cases. CBS's Manuel Bojorquez reports from hard-hit South Florida.
Florida is setting a pandemic record with more than 12,000 currently hospitalized with COVID-19. The patients are younger too, with half between the ages of 25 and 55. 91% of COVID patients in this hospital are unvaccinated.
I'd imagine when a vaccine started to roll out, you thought that this would be a preventable thing.
Correct, and it has not. And that is what's causing the spread of the virus.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis blamed the media.
You try to fearmonger, you try to do this stuff. And when they'll talk about hospitalizations, our hospitals are open for business.
They are, but they're strained. Memorial Healthcare plans to put off elective procedures to care for COVID patients. The hospital system is also adding an overflow unit of 266 beds just to handle other patients.
Do you see the numbers going down anytime soon?
No, I don't see the numbers going down.
Why is that?
It's just keep increasing, and you thought we would have been okay last week, and this week is even higher. I don't see it.
Florida and Texas lead the nation in new cases. Their governors have pushed back against restrictions, calling them ineffective intrusions.
But you aren't going to help. At least get out of the way. People are trying to do the right thing.
Republican Governor Asa Hutchinson of Arkansas says he now regrets outlawing mask mandates for schools.
Everything has changed now. And yes, in hindsight, I wish that had not become law.
Dozens spoke against a proposed mask mandate in St. Louis.
100% of the people that get COVID in St. Louis County survive. Why would we mandate a cover for our faces?
But a new poll finds 53% of unvaccinated adults believe the vaccine is a bigger risk than COVID itself, which is not supported by any evidence. 28-year-old Tevin Figueroa is among the vaccine hesitant.
Is there a reason why?
No, just a personal. This stuff happens. I'm not too sure. And I keep on seeing like side effects.
For some, the fact that the vaccines have only been approved for emergency use so far has been a sticking point. But the FDA has signaled the Pfizer vaccine could get full approval by the end of the month. Major?
There you go. Florida leading the way. Florida and Texas, everyone, right? Our governors, Abbott and DeSantis, killing people. Yeah, I'll say that. They're murderers. Sure. They're murdering people by their incompetency, by their lack of leadership. All right, so what have we done today in the last 50 minutes? We've talked about Missouri, the Missouri coroner who decided to change death certificates so as not to say those that died from COVID. Home detention for Christian fascists who stormed the Capitol building on January 6th. The Delta Plus variant, what is it? The Christian prophet who rode his motorcycle with Jesus. Brings tears to my eyes, everyone. It was a beautiful story. Boston, what the fuck is going on with the acting mayor of Boston? Really? I mean, what's going on? Saying that we don't need vaccine passports here in the city. It's crazy. And of course, Florida and Texas, particularly Florida, leading the way in new COVID cases. All right. You want to do something funny? You want to put a smile on your face? You want to feel something good? Let's do something funny and good, right?
I used to have no idea what it would be like to live with someone who hates you. But that was before I discovered owning cats. For the small price of scooping turds out of a litter box, you can live with a creature who occasionally tolerates you. Plus, with cats, there's no longer any need to buy expensive furs because everything you wear will now be covered in cat hair. And with cats, you can throw out your old alarm clock because you will now be conveniently woken up at 2 a.m. by meowing and or vomiting. Try cats today because if no people will tolerate you, buy something that's gonna have to.
I don't think a lot of people tolerate me. My cat does. My cat tolerates me, everyone. You tolerate me. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for contributing. After Party After Show runs from 10 to 10:30. It's a shortened show today because I have to go to work earlier than usual. It's normal for Thursdays. Next week, tomorrow we do the normal 9 to 10, 10 to 11. So if you want to be on the panel for the After Party After Show, the link is in the description below. Checking out the chat one more time before I sign off. Oh, got you smiling, huh, John Hudson? It helps. Just putting a smile on your face. That's good. All right, everyone. I'm going to show the thank you video for Patreon, for patrons and members. Your dollars, your contributions, they help me in this space, but they also help me in the blogging space too. I've been waging an asymmetrical war, because they are so big and powerful, and I am so small and just one man doing his shtick. But, I've been fighting Christian fascism, religious insanity for well over a decade. So when you contribute to, like I said, my little asymmetrical warfare, my insurgency against Christian fascism. Here's the video. I'll see you at 10, everyone.